Hello, it's a late November Sunday afternoon and I'm sat in the garden just having a look around, thinking about what I'm going to do next year, what I might need to change, and if there's anything left to overwinter. And pretty much for me, this is about it now. I'm about 95+% of what you see is going to stay out all winter. Couple of things might have to come in that are a little bit more tender. There is also things like cannas and stuff that will die back, but they stay in the ground for me all year round. I do have quite free draining soil. If it gets really cold, I will mulch them. But my thought is if you want to create a tropical style garden, do you really need to have lots of tender plants? Now, I'm saying that because when I originally started this garden many years ago, I had lots of tender plants. The big Ensete bananas, cannas, colocasias, all the tenders that make these gardens look really something different. But over the years, I've changed it and evolved it as the palms and plants have grown to try and look more and more evergreen and tropical as the time goes by. So I think where my head is going at is, do I really need to spend all this time overwintering the plants I have in the greenhouse? And especially with the price of energy and costs now, do I still need to do that in order to give the impression of a tropical style garden? Well, I think my overall thought is, yes, I do need them tenders. I don't tend to grow Ensetes too much now. I do have a couple, but the planting in this garden has become sort of so mature now that I find spots really hard to place them in where they will benefit. So the last couple of years I've just had them in large pots and mixed them in the borders. I also love to grow colocasia. They're probably my favourite variety of plant, and I do have a good collection of many different varieties. So I will keep them, but I think apart from maybe pink china and a couple of others, I probably won't plant them out anymore. I'll probably just get some real decorative pots. Excuse the helicopter going over. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, so I will probably just get some nice decorative pots, put the colocasia in, give them the environment they like, plenty of well-fed organic matter, plenty of water, and I'd probably get better results from them than keep trying to dig them into the ground and force them to be in an environment they don't like. So, do we really need to have all this hassle of how to overwinter bananas and all these kind of plants? So it depends on your style of gardening. I've evolved from it. I've decided to change the way I garden, and I use sort of a lot more of these evergreen plants, like I say many a times, and sort of half hardy plants as well. So for instance, like in this border, there's the Persicaria red dragon, Salvia amistad. For me, in a mild winter, stays in the ground. If it got really cold, sort of -5s, it could kill it. Maybe lower, depending where you are, and microclimates and things like that. So other stuff, the euphorbias, like mellifera, Mahonia soft caress, my very battered looking Musa Bajou at the minute, which by the way, I do not give any protection whatsoever. It will just get mulched at the bottom, so that's kind of protection. But I don't fleece up the stems or any other sort of protection like that. Even if it gets really cold, it will grow back quick enough next year, and that will maybe get moved anyway, so I don't bother with that. Then you've got cannas that are staying in the ground for me. Obviously it's November, so they don't look at their best. That one especially, which is Canna Black Knight, which really didn't enjoy being in that spot. Too dry from all the sort of mature specimens around it. Then you've got the other stuff, Pittosporum, the loquat, that is cooling out for the plants around it to be pruned so it can have more room to grow into the tree it's meant to be, rather than a very strange looking shrub. Then we've got some squashed Trachycarpus, Cycas revoluta I should say. Hasn't had any protection in the last couple of mild winters with this good sort of overhead cover, but if it gets really cold it will get wrapped up. Then you've got like the Formiums, Stritula there, and there, I was going to do a separate video on that, is my Trachycarpus princeps that has been in the ground for about 7 years and is the slowest palm I've ever grown. Proper frustrating, for me anyway. Then Cordyline Torbay Dazzler, if we get a really bad winter, sort of -6s and lower, I may just chuck some fleece bags over the top because they're not as hardy as a normal Cordyline australis. Then we have obviously the other Trachycarpus. There is a big eucalyptus at the back there, a red robin. Then we've got these Camarops humilis, Trachycarpus wagnerianus, Formium yellow wave. Going around here, more Camarops. Then you got your heucheras, and this plant which is Brachioglottis. I think it's also got another name, I can't remember now, to be fair. Then you got your grasses. It says Carex Everio, Ophiopogon. That's a very squashed looking now because it's getting the end of the year Eucomis. Astelia, Silver Shadow, another waggy, grasses, heucheras, Pittosporums, Nandina, Akuba. So there is so many of these plants that we can put in our garden to keep it looking like this all year round, and this will not, apart from a few bits where the cannas die down, change hardly at all. So you've got there with its red berries coming out, which looks really good this time of year, Nandina domestica, Fatsia polycarpa. And then as I move around the back, I don't tend to have so much sort of like palm type plants. This is much more going to be foliage plants like the ferns, as I want a sort of greener, softer look around the back here, and none of this is seen from the house, so I don't feel like I have to have that all year round sort of look. These palms need to go indoors for winter, well, into my greenhouse, frost free. The Tetrapanics, which is looking really poorly now as it's starting to drop all its leaves, but will be absolutely fine, and is flowering heavily. Another Astelia Silver Shadow. That's the green version of Ophiopogon. Hercules, coming back after a real struggle over a hot summer that it really didn't like in that spot. So there is cannas in this border which are dying off now, but they are all going to be dug up and rechanged. So the point I'm trying to get to is, you don't have to have, and it is a choice thing, if it's your look, and it was my look, so I'm not going to knock it, and I still love it. I love the tender plants, and I have quite a few that I'm growing in a polytunnel at a family member's property, and I will carry on to grow them. But it doesn't have to all be tenders. I think if you really take your time and think about how you want to space your plants out, what kind of look you want over winter, the windows you're going to look out of over winter, and just try to, you know, make the garden look more all year round, sort of interesting. It is hard work overwintering a lot of these plants. In that cabin at the bottom of the garden, that's heated to about 15 degrees and has all my colocasias in under grow lights. Keeps me interested over winter. I love to do that, but it does take time, money, as in energy, to keep it sort of to that temperature, especially when it gets to minus sort of 5 and below outside. And I'm just not sure if, with the price of energy being so ridiculously high now, we're going to have to evolve the way we do these gardens, because people are having to put inset bananas in the house to overwinter them, and many other plants, because heating a greenhouse just isn't practical anymore. So I know I'm ranting on a little bit at the moment, but I do sort of feel that we do need to think about changing the way we do a sort of temperate climate, tropical style garden. If we carry on just growing too many tenders, I feel like it becomes more of a chore. You've got 3-4 months of your garden where you're going, oh, this looks absolutely beautiful, I love it, it's the best place in the world. Then you're spending the rest of the time either starting them off, bringing them in, keeping them alive. Now, some of them, the tenders, are a lot easier to look after than the others. So maybe that's a choice as well. Is that plant worthwhile? Now, I have some really fussy plants, so by no means am I trying to be a hypocrite here. Some of them, my really tender colocacias, for instance, they really do need looking after. But I think the point I'm trying to get out there is, if you look at what I'm looking at now through the camera, pretty much everything stays out, and that is a quite large proportion of my garden. If I was to replace loads of these with large tender bananas, I would still love the look of that, but it would not be practical. So I have to take that into consideration. It has made me change the way I garden, and it will probably change again. But I would still always have tenders to give that the little bit of detail that these other plants can't give. Some of the colours and the leaf shapes that you get from, let's say for instance, maybe black leafed colocasia, or the purple leaves of a Persian shield, some beautiful dark burgundy leaves of a canna. You just can't tend to replicate that in the hardy evergreens, so you're always going to need that to get a wow factor in the summer. But I think it's about finding a sort of compromise on how much can stay out, how much is hardy in the ground, maybe even with a mulch, and you know, just adapt. Because realistically, for me to try and heat my greenhouse now, it's just not worthwhile, not for the amount of money's worth of plants in there. It's probably more about the sort of personal value that them plants have got to me than rather their sort of economical value. So I think I'm going to stop my rant now going on, but I do want to put it out there. I would like people to think about next year, rather than thinking every time we get to November, how am I going to overwinter this? How do I overwinter this? Maybe, do I need to overwinter this? Can I plant something that doesn't need overwintering, that's going to give me the same kind of effect? So I think I'll leave you with that. Food for thought. Thank you very much for watching. Any questions or, you know, thoughts on the matter, please leave in the comments. Thank you very much.